Hello, my name is LaShaunte, and this is my testimony. I grew up on the south side of Chicago with both of my parents, one older brother and one younger brother. We all pretty much got along and kind of did our own thing. I tried very hard to please my parents. I remember one year I did really well in school, and my dad told me I can get anything I want. And I decided to get a pogo stick. I could have got anything I wanted. I said a pogo stick. And that was kind of all through grade school. Trying to just do well in school. It was really important to my dad, especially. I knew that at the time that we weren't very well off, and I knew that if I did well in school, that I eventually could make more money. And I always thought about just supporting my parents, supporting my family, not having to struggle as much as we did. And so that was something that kind of always kind of weighed on me. But also in those younger years, I received a lot of just harsh insults that quickly shaped the perception of myself. Being called ugly, fat, dirty, from people who I thought should love me. And I grew into that insecurity about my appearance, about my body, my skin, my hair, and had a hard time teaching myself how to take care of myself, my person. It became very difficult during middle school, high school, because I went to a pretty well-off school where other kids, they didn't have to worry about the things that I got concerned with. Where I wore, my cousin's hand-me-downs, and they would have new everything, and just the excess of things that I would get jealous about. And now I know that stuff wasn't important. But you're 13, 14, want to please your peers and fit in. For some reason, that becomes very, very important. So I would compare myself to my peers. Everything I scrutinized myself over, they just seemed to excel in. And around 13, I became a bit more rebellious and confrontational. And around that time also, my parents, they separated. So myself, my mom, my brothers, we moved in with my grandmother, which was a really trying time, I think, for everyone's relationship with everyone in the household. And my grandmother was a very feisty woman. I love her so much. But she was definitely a woman of her way. So we collided a lot. My mom and I collided a lot. But I honestly really loved that time. I felt closer to my family. All my cousins and family members, friends of the family would always come over. I would see people every day. And even though I felt closer with my family, I still really struggled with just feelings of being insignificant and loneliness. Never really feeling cared for or cared about. I just didn't feel like I was someone special. I felt very isolated and lonely amongst others, and just didn't think that much of myself. I would get into passive relationships that I really wasn't even interested in. I just used for my own selfish gains and to be in control. I started living for myself, keeping people at a distance, being pleasant enough that people would be comfortable around me and want to hang out, but me myself being very guarded towards them, not being very vulnerable or open. And I kept this up all through high school. I joined different clubs and groups to excel and stack up my college resume. And everything seemed to be going pretty well up until my senior year of high school. At the very end, I remember the night of my senior luncheon, one of my very close cousins was murdered. And this kind of really added a shift into my family. Dynamics really changed. And I remember crying so hard at this. I just saw him that day. We were talking about how I was going to come off to college and he was going to come visit me. And I remember crying so hard that my blood vessel popped in my eye. I thought I was going to go blind. Like went to the emergency room for nothing. But from that point, I didn't cry for like the next 3 years. I was just so, I think emotionally just cut off. And just really down. So coming to NIU, I saw it as kind of turning a new leaf, and a way to get away. But it was all really a blessing. It was, I think, a miracle from God that I even came here to DeKalb. I believe God really had a hand in it because it was just a random dumb decision that I made, that I didn't really tell my parents about. Like I didn't really talk about. I just, I went to a college prep school. And they had tons of resources on colleges, and they would do tours, and there was a whole like lab just for college prep and resources. And I barely used it. I just really was prideful and just kind of doing my own thing, and never sought any of that. But in the hallway, I remember seeing a poster of about 30 different school logos. And I saw the NIU Husky logo, and I was just like, that's cute. Let's see where that's at, And I thought, well, it's not too far, but it's not close enough that everybody's going to want to come out to visit me. And, just a random poster. And NIU stood out. And here's where I was reached out to. So my second semester of school, I had a roommate named PJ who was in Bible studies, and she invited me to come to church with her one day. I didn't even know up until that point that she was studying the Bible or anything, but I decided to go to church with her. And honestly, life was changed in that moment of being there at Hopkins Park. I've never experienced just the love that was in the room. It was the first time I understood a sermon. I've been to churches before, and went regularly to other churches in the past, and I just never really understood anything when I left. And I really just knew that this was a place I was gonna come back to. Everybody was so warm and welcoming. And once I met Karina and Jackie, and Karina asked me to study the Bible, and I'm like, yeah, sure. I as a child, I would try to crack open our King James Version Bible and try to read, and I never really could get past Genesis, could get past the first 2 chapters. I just didn't understand. And so I was excited to study the Bible. But as I was going through my studies, I was very, very quiet, very much a thinker. And I think also still just on guard. And I just didn't share many thoughts, but I would read, I would go back, go over the scriptures. And I remember studying out about not being a hypocrite and in Matthew 15. And that was just a very convicting, very, very convicting passage for me. Because my family actually comes from ministers. My grandfather was a minister down in Mississippi. And it was clear that our lives were not fitting of what it says in the scriptures about being a follower of Jesus. And I really just did not want to be that hypocrite. But I also remember studying out how I was God's special possession. And I really wanted to believe that and just be cherished in that way. I knew we were leading up to the end, that the end would be me giving my life to Christ, living for Him, getting baptized and calling Him my Lord. And I knew that I think pretty early on, probably halfway. And I just pushed through them. And it was just the best decision I ever made. I don't even think I told my mom that I was studying the Bible at the time. I don't think I told many people. At the time I was also in a long distance relationship kind of. And I broke up with him by letter. He was actually incarcerated at the time. And that was also just a weight lifted as well. So throughout my life, I always kind of feel like God has been protecting me. Like even though I have like this hurt and distrusting of others, I really do take it as a benefit at times, because it really helped me stay like safety aware, and alert and just detail oriented. There were many times as a child where I would be walking to or from the bus stop, and like men would be hanging out their cars trying to talk to me, and try to pick me up, and just alerts going off in my head, like, no, stay away, keep, like, don't give them the time of day. And I really feel like that was God as well, just protecting me. But now I know who I am in Christ. My identity is not defined by what people have said, what my thoughts may say. I know that I am significant and I am God's special possession. Now I don't have to feel alone. Not only do I have the Holy Spirit, but I also have a huge family of brothers and sisters that care for me, that support me, that spur me on. And I feel God's love every day. Hopefully my story is encouraging to someone out there. I did just want to leave with a scripture, Psalm 139, verses 7 to 10. It says, "Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast." This is just as an encouragement of just God's presence and how He comforts us and protects us, and how we can take refuge in Him. Thank you.